But I want to explain that to you because the earth, God has got something in the earth for us today. Healing, cures, but not just temporary. I really feel by the Spirit that He's been saying this, He's been saying this. Cancer will be a disease of the past. Alzheimer's will be a sickness of the past. Autism. This is not temporary cures. When God says it's a disease of the past, it's history. It means that something is in the earth to destroy it. Although I must tell you, I think with the way things are going with the medical science, I don't think there are going to be bald people anymore in the future. There can be no baldness. People are going to laugh at the photos that they're going to see and say, "Oh, look how funny that was." No baldness anymore. No cancer, a thing of the past. Spoken clearly of a sickness of the past.
Hello, friends. I'm Donné Clement Petruska, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding His revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Analysis. I am Donné Clement Petruska, the daughter of Kim and Jane Clement. And today, Christie Desfontaine is here in the studio with me. Welcome, Christie.
Hello.
We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And not over Zoom.
It's so nice, isn't it?
Yes, and we're just glad you're safe.
Yes, me
Glad
too.
that you are okay. Anybody wondering, Christie has been in Los Angeles, surrounded by fire, evacuating and packed up, and it has been a very stressful time, frightening time for you.
It has been, but I'm doing a lot better. I'm grateful. Like I said on the previous broadcast, I think I did end up with a pretty vicious lung infection from all the pollutants. Terrible. But thank God, doing a lot better.
I feel better.
And it has been nice breathing in the clean Nashville air.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's been fantastic.
Well, we're just glad that you're safe.
Thank
and
you.
that you were protected.
Yes.
And, you know, we have just such an interesting show today.
Oh, yes.
We've got some interesting things to talk to you guys about. Christie, what are we going to be doing here today?
So today, I mean, obviously, as always, you know, we're going to be talking about some of your dad's prophecies. And this is something I'm encouraging you to stick with us for. You know, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things. And I know for a lot of people, whenever AI or anything like that comes in, it can become a little bit scary, talking about technology. But God is not surprised by anything that's going on. And so one thing I'm going to throw out here quick is this, you know, we're not talking about that in totality right now, but you did mention this on last week's Codebreakers Live, Donné, about your dad prophesying about a cure for cancer.
Yes.
And this is an article I want to read to you. The headline says, Trump proposes radical plan to fight cancer with vaccines, proposing $500 billion to do so. And so this week, amid a flood of crazy executive orders, the new president announced a $500 billion project that he called the largest artificial intelligence infrastructure project in history. The White House claims the Stargate project will create tens of thousands of new jobs and initiate a new technological revolution, but the main prospect of this program is to finally create cures for cancer. Now, the reason that this is so important is because think about how many people cancer takes out, Donné. I mean, it took your dad from us.
My dad.
It took your dad from us. It takes people all the time, all over the place. So many people, we don't know. Oh, well, we think we know what might cause it, but there's been no viable potential solution. And yes, there's been different scientists working on it for a long time. But the point that I want to make here is this. The reason that everything that happened with Trump is so exciting is because what Kim prophesied looked and seemed completely impossible after what happened in 2020. People fell off the wagon. People started saying he was a false prophet. We lost support. So many things happened. Christians didn't know what to do. It feels like a lot of people sort of went into these hidey holes. But look what God did. And so this is something that's brought me a lot of excitement because Kim did prophesy about this. And I know we're going to show this, but there was prophecy about a cure for cancer, which again might seem impossible. But what President Trump has done, even in announcing this, again, he's declaring war on Big Pharma, Donné.
Yes, he is.
Where so many other people, when you look at how much money they end up making after being in charge, after being president, whatever, a lot of guys get kickbacks from Big Pharma. It's in the best interest of Big Pharma for people to stay sick.
Yes.
Because they're making so much money. And what President Trump is doing is he's coming through like a steam train, like a rocket, just smashing into all of this, whether it's through RFK, whether it's through Elon, whatever it is. And so this is just something that I wanted to say to keep our eye on because Kim did prophesy about this and it's felt impossible. But look at what God did just with Trump. Just looking at the Trump prophecies, looking what was fulfilled, looking what God did. I'm excited about this personally.
Yes.
And there's a clip that we want to play you guys. That's really crazy. It's relevant. There's this relevance to medical breakthroughs that is really, really interesting. And I know it can seem scary, but it's actually very exciting when you look at what it is that technology is able to do. Yes, there are some bad parts to it, but there are also some very good parts. So we're going to go into this clip now. Let's go to that, and then we'll discuss it.
I believe that as this technology progresses, we will see diseases get cured at an unprecedented rate. We will be amazed at how quickly we're curing this cancer and that one and heart disease, and what this will do for the ability to deliver very high quality healthcare, the costs, but really to cure the diseases at a rapid rate, I think will be among the most important things this technology does.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
That is incredible. Now, you know what, Christie? When my father was in the hospital and we had figured out what was wrong, he had cancer, he had a brain tumor, they were talking to us about a cancer vaccine at the time. Now, this is 2015, 16. And at the time, this is pre-COVID, before mRNA stuff scared everybody. And we were saying, we were desperate to save my dad. So we were like, well, can he take it? Mm-hmm. No, give him anything. Yes. And they said, no, he would have to do it in a trial because it hasn't gone through all the stuff. And so, of course, we just moved on. We couldn't use it, and I forgot about it until the vaccine was introduced. And I remembered the mRNA. That was what they called it. And so it's not a traditional vaccine. I think it's maybe even a mistake that they keep calling it a vaccine because it isn't like how a traditional vaccine is.
Yeah.
It probably could use its own name. But a big problem that people have is the way that the COVID vaccine and mRNA technology was introduced to the public, in that it was forced on people. A lot of it didn't work. Mm-hmm. And so it hasn't gotten off to a good start. But what I cannot ignore is my father's prophecies. And this is where you brought it up about 2020.
Yes.
And Dad prophesied the 2 terms. And of course, he didn't say consecutive. We didn't expect there to be a break with Biden, which was a necessary break.
It was necessary.
I mean, I really believe that things would be... I'm so much happier now that we've gotten through it, now that we're out of it, to say, okay, actually that was necessary. And so, one thing that we need to remember about AI and about medical technology and all this is it's here.
It's here.
It's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not going anywhere.
And I personally would rather this be in the hands of Trump and even just America and the West, as opposed to China.
Yes.
Because I don't know if you saw the new AI China has come up with. It's completely communist censored.
Yeah.
So do we want that kind of a system in control? And then we're too scared. It's too scary, so we're not going to deal with it. Well, China will, Russia will,
everybody
the Middle East will.
Yes.
So I think the best place for this to be is in America, in the hands of Donald Trump right now.
I agree. And, of course, there's going to be questions about the ethics of it. Of course, there's going to be questions about feasibility, about timelines, whether there's ethical things to consider. But like you're saying, the technology is here. It's here. We want to see it used for good. Remember this. Like anything else, the potential, people say, the internet's the devil. Well, the internet is how most of you know who Kim Clement is.
Yes.
The internet is how so many people know who Jesus is. The internet is the reason that so many good things have happened. And of course, there's always bad to it. But what we want to go to, Donné, we've spoken about this for a second, but really what everybody's waiting for, what did your dad see about all of this? This is what I've been waiting for, what we've all been waiting for, because we're here knowing that this man is unparalleled still to this day in what God showed him. So we're going to go into a couple of prophecies here with Kim again from years ago, 2011, 2014. And again, when we go in and listen to this, I want you to stay with us because we're going to show you more and talk more about this. Listen to what he says and what it is that God showed him, especially in light of what President Trump has just announced, remembering this again more than 10 years ago, some of it. So let's go to this. Let's go to these prophecies now.
But I want to explain that to you because the earth, God has got something in the earth for us today, healing, cures, but not just temporary. I really feel by the Spirit that he's been saying this, he's been saying this. Cancer will be a disease of the past. Yeah. Alzheimer's will be a sickness of the past. Autism. This is not temporary cures. When God says it's a disease of the past, it's history. Yeah. It means that something is in the earth to destroy it.
I mean, this is something I remember him speaking about on numerous occasions. And it's something that I noticed on my on Codebreakers Live this past Sunday is my dad died of cancer. My husband's grandfather lived with us from 2015 until he passed away in 2021, and he had Alzheimer's. So I have, hands-on in my house, year after year experience with Alzheimer's and the stages of it and what happens to a person when they have Alzheimer's. And then my son is autistic, and that's something we weren't really sure about in the first few years, and it wasn't until after Dad passed away that we realized that he was. He's not too severe of a case. He can speak, he's reading and writing, and he's just the most magnificent child. But he is autistic. And so something I realized is reflective in my own life is I have personally, intimately dealt with cancer, Alzheimer's, and autism. And so, one question I've had is, why would that be? And then I see these promises of cures for these things. I wish the cure for cancer had been when my dad was still alive. That's one thing that I can't get over.
I know.
But it is undeniable that he was seeing these things long before he could have formed an opinion about mRNA or AI.
He also wasn't reading about that stuff.
No. He didn't know a thing about it.
He didn't even want to go to a doctor ever.
He didn't trust doctors. No. He didn't trust big pharma. No. Individual doctors he trusted when he would develop relationships with them.
But in general.
But he didn't like the system.
No.
And we don't like that system either, because that's a system that has actually thwarted and suffocated real cures because for profit.
Of course.
And this is coming out more and more. I mean, it's a pretty bold statement, but it is true. They make more money off of radiation and chemotherapy, which is not effective. It does not help a lot of people. It may help some people sometimes, but it usually causes a lot more problems. And like you said earlier, they make money off of us being sick.
Yes.
They don't want the cures. And so God is intervening from within here.
Yes.
And in only a way that God could do.
Only God can.
And so we have to be able to, like you said, a lot of people, including me, are afraid about AI. AI scares me. The first thing I said when I learned about what it was capable of is there an off switch?
Yes.
Did someone make a switch that if this thing goes out of control, we can just turn it off? No, apparently not.
No.
And so that's the thing I don't like, because you hear people saying, well, AI could just say, human beings are a problem and we need to just get rid of it. And because it doesn't have emotional feeling, it doesn't mean anything to the AI to say, oh, well, humans are the problem, let's get rid of it.
Yeah.
But that's the devil.
Yeah.
Human beings are the ones worrying about that, because the devil has convinced us that we are the useless eaters, as Yuval Noah Harari might call us.
And that's because God is the one who said that we're the crown of his creation.
And so the devil, that is a lie from the devil.
Yes, of course.
So we actually don't know if AI would say that. That's human beings. That's a fear, I think a deep fear within us that, it's going to destroy us. I mean, look at movies like Terminator and things like that that have really focused on that idea. And so going into this, and look, I don't think we should be foolish. I think this is the catalyst for the mark of the beast. That's undeniable. But a point that I made on Sunday is, it's prophesied. We are not stopping that from happening.
No, it's
we are responsible to recognize and say, okay, I'm not taking that mark.
Yeah.
That says I can't buy it.
But it's going to happen.
But it is happening. Otherwise, the Bible's a lie.
Yes, of course.
So it is happening. We're seeing ourselves in that time, wherever we are on the timeline. We're not actually supposed to know technically. too close to like even Jesus.
Yeah, of course.
Said he doesn't even know, only his Father in heaven. So I think that it has to be a balance. And I think that's something we've learned through this whole experience, is the balance, because you see how far the left went and it was just too extreme.
Yeah.
And as compassion, a lot of that comes out of compassion.
Yeah.
Wanting to be fair to people who have been treated badly, groups of people, and wanting to lift them up has gotten out of control because people get bound by law. We've got to make a law for it. We've got to make a law for it. But then that law isn't going to always work. And so there is a refining of our walk, in that we have to have a balance.
Yeah.
It can't be too far to the left. It can't be too far to the right. And that's not just politically, that's in every
way. Well,
way we look at things.
What you're saying there's a really beautiful scripture in Ecclesiastes that says, it is good to hold on to the one and not to let go of the other. A man who is wise avoids all extremes.
Yes.
And I always hated that scripture because I'm an extremist by nature.
Yes.
And I struggled with it. Your dad and I used to talk about this. We did. He would say, that scripture. I'd say, I know. But, something for everybody to be aware of. The reason that we're doing this, the reason we're showing you these prophecies, the reason we're talking about all of this is to give you hope, to let you know and remind you that God has given us a hope and a future. None of this is taking God by surprise. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. He is the one who sees all things, and he revealed things to Kim to give us hope for a time when he himself would not even be on the earth anymore. It was to give us hope for a future that we know is certain, not because of external factors, but because of the character and nature of who God is. And we're going to go into a clip in just a minute, another one about, another prophecy clip of Kim prophesying about how cancer would be a thing of the past. But I just want to encourage everybody, wherever you're at right now, when we sow, when we give, when we bring our offerings to God, we're presenting something to his altar and saying, I need you more than I need anything else. There's a red link that's popping up below your player that you can click to give to. You can text your offering. You can, there's so many different ways that you can give, and I'm encouraging you to do that. The thing that I've been saying every week as a reminder is that when you sow into this, you're sowing into a future that is certain. You're sowing into something that is eternal. All of these things that have happened, talking to people about all the different words that Kim gave over the years and how we're just seeing this crazy amount of fruition and fulfillment. These things, like a cure to cancer, we're also going to be talking about death to debt in a show that's upcoming. These prophecies that seem impossible. God's already done some of it. Trump coming in for a second term after what happened seemed impossible, but God made it happen because God is the one who showed Kim what was going to happen, and we've seen it happen. And so I'm encouraging you, whatever it is that you're facing, whether you're struggling with, maybe you're excited that Trump's in, but you're waiting to see the outworking of that in your own personal life. So give. Let this be an offering that is presented to God, not only your body as a living sacrifice, but bringing your offering to the altar of remembrance, bringing your offering to the altar saying to God, this is a sign that I need you, and I know that you've got me in the palm of your hand. So we're about to go into this prophecy now. Stay with us, but I'm encouraging you, even as these words go out, hold on to them. Take hold of them for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, for your city, for your nation, and sow and know that what you're doing is giving into eternity. But let's go to this next prophecy now, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Let's go there.
Although I must tell you, I think with the way things are going with the medical science, I don't think there are going to be bald people anymore in the future. There can be no baldness. People are going to laugh at the photos that they're going to see and say, oh, look how funny that was. No baldness anymore, no cancer, a thing of the past. Spoken clearly of a sickness of the past.
A sickness of the past, Donné.
See, that's not, there's going to be some of them will be okay. That is done. It's done. And, this is, I see this over and over again in the prophecies. It's not just these are the main ones we're playing for you today. He kept seeing this over the years.
Yes.
I think it's quite funny, the baldness.
I know.
but something as sort of odd as that makes you realize it really is God showing him these things, because that's sort of a random and impossible. Nobody's cured the baldness problem so far.
Nobody.
But if you start to think about genetics, human genetics, they've now got the ability to fix things, and it needs to be tested and things need to be done. But you have to look at this sort of like the gun debate. It's like, okay, guns have the ability. Are very dangerous.
Yes.
But we need them to protect ourselves.
Yes, of course.
You cannot get rid of all the guns in the world.
Evil exists.
And all the weapons in the world, because someone will, evil exists. So it's the same thing when you look at the internet. There's evil, terrible, terrible things going on the internet, but there's very good things. Look at us here today.
Yes.
We're able to share with one another this information that quickly, which is what Dad saw, how quickly it would be. The gospel being spread to places it never could have been before, that now it is. And that the truth, God will make sure that the truth gets to people. So it's the same thing as the gun debate. It's, okay, it's not about getting rid of the gun, because you're never actually going to be able to do that.
No.
We have to understand that, okay, I'm going to have this tool to protect myself against the person who also has that tool.
Yes.
And so if we can look at things that way, then you can see the potential for great good that God has given us. It is a miracle. It's not a magic snapping of the fingers and it's there. It's actually within his creation, within the code that makes each and every one of us an individual, with our own characteristics, with our own gifts, with our own weaknesses, all those things. And it gives us a deeper understanding of his creation. And so I'm not afraid of it. I'm quite excited. I am part of that group that's apprehensive because I don't trust
Yes.
the people who've been in control of it. But once that trust is gained, if we have the right people there, I just think of children with cancer.
Of course.
And it breaks my heart to see what my father went through.
Yes.
Something has to be done.
Yes.
And I think God, God doesn't do things in the way we expected. Look at the election thing. We expected, Kim prophesied 2 terms for Trump. We expected it was going to be, and it wasn't. It didn't go the way we expected, but what was prophesied is still true.
Yes.
And so we have to have that perspective when we're looking at a cure for cancer and you hear the word mRNA and your heart races because you're thinking, I don't trust that. That's But really what we didn't need to be trusting was the people in charge who were forcing it when it wasn't properly tested. So if done right, there's great potential in this. And we cannot deny, my dad was seeing this in the 2027 prophecy.
That's the thing.
When he saw 2027, that was another one
Yes.
that we looked at on Sunday on Codebreakers Live, is he was weeping because he saw the promise.
Yes.
He didn't see the journey and all
he
the
saw
stuff
the
we were going to go.
promise.
He wasn't even here
Yes.
for it. But he saw, hey, there's going to be cures for these things.
And the thing is too, God wants healing for people.
Yes.
And God, there's no doubt that God has given people wisdom and he's given them the ability to do things. And there's no doubt in my mind at all that he's given doctors the wisdom to be able to develop these different things. I'm sure that if we were back in 1600 and whatever, everybody would have freaked out. Even think about when penicillin came around,
Yes.
everybody was freaking out. But we look back now and it seems obvious and it saved countless lives. We don't know what it is because we don't see the whole picture, but God does. It's so clear to me that what Kim was seeing is in line with what God is wanting. And so God can use tech.
Yeah.
God can use any of this to bring about healing and to use innovation to bring about healing for his people. I mean, Donné, not just that. Think about if diabetes was cured.
Right.
Think about if all these different things were cured, the lives that people could live and the impact they could have for God. Now,
The suffering that would be relinquished.
and the suffering that would be removed, This is the heart of God. It's the desire of God for his children. Now, for everybody out there watching, we are out of time, but there is something that we're wanting to talk about, Donné, that I think because of its controversy is going to be just for the partners.
Yes.
So we're going to be showing another prophecy about Kim that also involves a Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson clip.
Yes.
But that we're going to be saving just for the partners. So if you're a partner, you can tune in and watch us talk about that. And, we're a little nervous of getting flagged here, but partnership, we can do whatever we want.
Yes.
And for those of you that are not yet partners, you can very easily become one. $7 a month. You have access to so many things. We've got an incredible prophecy vault. And of course, all of Kim's prophecies are always available, but we've got them beautifully lined up. We've got transcripts of them. Donné and I record all sorts of extra content to go with it. There's so many extras. So I'm encouraging you for $7 a month. It's a lot less than a Netflix subscription. It's a lot less than any of these other subscriptions. $7 a month. Not only are you supporting the work that it is that we're doing here and furthering the legacy of Kim Clement and the words that God gave him for the earth, but it also is going to give you access to a whole lot of extra stuff. So those of you that are partners already, make sure you tune in and watch us talk about this Kim clip. And then about the Joe Rogan one is, like I said, a little controversial. But Donné, we've looked at this. We've looked at the prophecies your dad gave regarding cancer being a thing of the past, about tech being used as possibly the pathway to that happening, because he saw the end result. This could be the pathway to it happening. And obviously, we are very grateful to all of you for your support. We wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Absolutely, yes. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We will be back next week. Christie will be here with me again. And we're going to be speaking about debt, I think.
We're talking about your dad's crazy
Death
prophecies.
to debt. So you don't want to miss next week. Come back and join us. Don't miss any of our programming here at the House of Destiny Network. We've got something every day of the week. You don't want to miss it. And do partner with us if you can, because it is definitely worth it, as Christie said, because there's also teachings in there.
So much.
It is full. It is full. And I've had great reports from people who have partnered with us and are using it, and they absolutely love it. So if you haven't, if you can, we encourage you to partner with us. We thank you for joining us today on Analysis, and we will see you next time.
Prophet Kim used to joke about it. He used to say, Armageddon, Armageddon, Armageddon out of here. That's an attitude that the church have been plagued with for a long time.
We're not moved. We're on the foundation. We're on the rock. And we're able to keep pace with God. And we don't have to be fooled. I mean, we might miss it here and there, but we don't have to be fooled. God's going to keep us in the know.
All man has is a breath in his nostrils. Of what account is he? Which is why we can't place our trust and our seeking in a person, in a movement, in a political group, in a church group. Like, human beings fail. We fall. It's what we do. We're not perfect. Watch now at real-faith.tv.
The modern day prophets of Baal are the mainstream media.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Every last one of them was saying the same thing, and they was almost saying it in the same tone. Guys, this is proof that the media uses incantations to do what? So that they can place a spell or to bewitch or to control.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.